Hello, and in this particular presentation, I'm going to talk about a few important things related to the IELTS test. And I'll also talk about the course that we conduct by the name IELTS ASAP. So let us begin with understanding why so many people with excellent English sometimes do not clear the IELTS test in the first attempt. So what could be the reason? Why do participants, even those who come from excellent English speaking background, and this is not something which I'm telling from my side, you might have also seen it from your own experience, that even those who come from excellent English speaking background sometimes do not get the desired scores, 8 bands or above, in the IELTS test. What is the reason? And I have many examples of this sort. I mean, in the second or third attempt, they get what they need, but then in the first attempt, they fail. The reason, there are a few of them, and surprisingly, these are the people who sometimes attend some coaching also, and after that, they do not get the desired results. The first is the mindset. Now, they do not have the right perception about the test, or they have a very incorrect perception about their own selves. So let's talk about the self-perception first. Many people think that I know English, so I speak English on a day-to-day basis and I can clear the test, which is to a great extent right. So if you talk about speaking, many of the participants score excellent marks in their speaking test in the first attempt. But when it comes to reading and writing, they fail there. You might be speaking a lot on a daily basis, but are you writing essays? Are you doing reading comprehension? It's a different animal altogether. So you have to be very thorough with all the sections of IELTS in order to clear it. Some people think that, okay, fine, I'll use YouTube University, which is actually a great idea, and it's a repository of great tutorials. You can access them from many of the great tutors. I have a lot of content on YouTube, and I also learn from YouTube a great deal. But when it comes to one-to-one feedback, are you doing it right? Have you reached there? There is no such validation of all the efforts that you put in if you go by YouTube. So many times you learn a lot, but you don't know whether you are there or not. And this lack of validation leads to lack of confidence, leads to lack of marks and not clearing the test in the first attempt. And the third is time. Some people think that they have a lot of time so they can prepare on their own. Even if you have a lot of time, it's not an alternative to uh, to getting your mistakes fixed. If somebody doesn't tell you that you are going wrong at this point, you won't know where you are going wrong. So, I know English or YouTube University or time are not a replacement for a course. People end up not clearing the IELTS test just because of these three reasons. And then there are some incorrect test perceptions themselves. Even after coaching, some people do not get the desired marks because they learn the wrong things or the wrong points. Like, for example, many trainers of IELTS or many trainers of English say that you need to have complex grammar. IELTS is definitely not a test of how complex is your grammar or using some complex structures there. All you need is some simple ways and simple strategies. Do you need extraordinary knowledge to write essays? Of course, to a certain extent, good knowledge or some new ideas are attractive, but it's not something which is a must. Your essay should be, your purpose should not be to impress the examiner with your writing, but to impress the examiner by your writing skills that are required for IELTS. It's not about impressing the examiner with ideas, but showcasing your English skills which are required for clearing the IELTS test. So the purpose is not to showcase that what wonderful ideas you have, but just to touch the benchmark of evaluation. So this is one big mindset. This is one big flaw in how the people think about it. And then the third thing is about difficult words. People think that they have to use complex vocabulary, which is actually not required. The second reason people fail to clear IELTS is about using the right strategies. Many a times they start thinking that they have to straight away perform. So they start with a test, they take the test, they see how much are they scoring, they keep on doing lots of tests. But what about preparation and practice? Before performance comes your preparation and practice phase, where you have to practice certain skills. As it is generally said, if you want to create a masterpiece, master the pieces. So unless you master the pieces, you cannot create a masterpiece, right? So in order to get great marks, you have to go step by step. First comes preparation and practice, and then comes performance. And then, as I said, doing many tests. So it doesn't really help. If you do many tests, you get practice of driving many cars. But then, does it make sure that you drive one car correctly? Not really. So you have to do one test many times and learn from it rather than doing multiple tests. And the third flaw why people do not get 8 bands is discipline. They start with a lot of enthusiasm, but then inconsistency and complacency creeps in. Other priorities of life take precedence, and they end up not doing enough practice. So even with time available, even with a lot of information available to them, they don't have a strategy to clear it, and they don't clear the IELTS test in the first attempt. Now, what is the solution? It's simple. So we have designed this course, which we call as IELTS ASAP, where ASAP stands for as soon as possible and as skilled as possible. We have some simple techniques by which we help you to develop your listening, reading, writing, speaking, all the 4 aspects of IELTS. We give personalized and group support. There's a lot of personalized coaching, and that's why from the second or third day itself, we start getting results. The participants get to understand where they are going wrong, and they accordingly make a strategy to turn their mistakes into milestones. And we have this model of recorded plus live sessions. So it's not only recorded, it's not only live. Everything which you need to cover is the theory part. The base is there with you, which you can access in a step-by-step manner. We have created an LMS, the Learning Management System portal, where there are around 109 short videos on all small topics, and we keep on updating it with regard to new content and new strategies. So that comes to you as a part of the course. So this ASAP course, as I said, ASAP is as skilled as possible and as soon as possible. We try to find out the simplest and the easiest way which can bridge the gap between your 6 or 7 bands to 8 bands. And what strategies we use, I'll quickly take you through that. Like, for example, when we talk about listening, what we do is we talk about listening strategies. Listening is actually the easiest test, and most of our participants get full marks in listening invariably. 8.59 is normal. So yeah, you can expect to get those kind of scores with using the right strategy. So we talk about listening strategies, answering strategies, and how you can convert your mistakes into milestones. The simple thing we ask participants to do is identify the questions where you go wrong and do the same types of questions from multiple tests. Like, for example, if map is something that you are not able to do, just do a lot of map questions and you would be able to overcome this hindrance or bottleneck. There's a certain way to approach each of the types of questions, and we talk about them in our training. Second is reading. Reading is one big piece, and even those who come from excellent speaking or English background find reading to be tough because we are not accustomed to read and find answers on a daily basis. You might be reading newspapers, which is great. It could have made you a great, big picture thinker, but then are you answering questions based on that? Do you know what types of questions are there in IELTS, and what is the best way or the right approach to answer all those questions is something people lack. So we talk about reading strategies, answering strategies, and milestones to mistakes. One big thing that we talk about reading is how can you shorten the time? How can you quickly read and find answers instead of understanding the whole content? Is it possible to just read the lines and get the answers is what we talk about there. And the third is writing. Again, a big piece where many participants falter and they are not able to clear it. So we follow a model. We have got some standard answers. We simply ask you to follow those answers and rewrite your essays. In 4 to 5 days, people pick up the right strategies, and these one-to-one sessions come very handy to them. You clearly identify where you are going wrong. So yeah, our purpose is not to give you a one-size-fits-all solution where there's a good class of, let's say, 10 people and everybody is going through the same structure. We give one-to-one feedbacks on your writing and reading and listening skills. So in the initial 4-5 days, 10 days itself, you cover a lot of distance, which pave the way to your success in IELTS, rather than, juggling with all the puzzles and thinking, oh, this works for somebody else, will it work for me? So we make it very, very customized for you. which makes it easy for you to turn your mistakes into milestones. Same thing we do with speaking. I've not written it here though. So for speaking, we have got participants who have scored 9 bands in speaking, and we have their samples. So when you go through them, you get to understand, oh, this is what constitutes 9 bands in speaking. And all those who come from English speaking background do not need any fancy accent or fancy vocabulary or complex grammar. All that is required is to speak like an idiot, where I mean that you should speak like a common man. And that's what you get to learn in this course. Our purpose is not to tell you that, oh, IELTS is something which is very specialized. It is something which anyone can clear using the right strategies and structures. So this is what this course is all about. And I welcome you all to join this course. We have various courses customized according to your needs. And yeah, we have been getting excellent results. I'll paste the interviews of participants. Please go through them. You'll find some excellent strategies used by winners, those who have scored 7.58 in their first attempt. How they cleared it and what strategies they used would be clear to you. So all the very best to you. Thank you very much for watching.